Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Terrible.
Hello, Nathan. Hey, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good evening. Good night, wherever you may be. Whatever the time may be, it's good to have you all. Please share the show. Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere-edge horizon formerly known as the curve of the Earth?
Black Swan.
Did I hear someone whisper Black Swan?
What's that?
I was going to say that.
Someone literally whispered Black Swan.
Black Swan.
That was epic.
What's the Black Swan?
If the Earth was a sphere with a radius of 3959 miles and every distance to horizon measurement could be no more than 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet, distance to horizon in the image we call the Black Swan is beyond the geometric limitations at 1.2 times the square root of the observer's height in feet. Therefore, the Earth is not a sphere and the horizon is not Earth curve.
I never said those measurements. Where'd you get that from?
From the claim that the Earth's a sphere, based on the 3959 radial measurement off a flat plane, used to infer Earth's sphericity.
You forgot the no atmo day.
What does that mean, no atmo day?
No atmo day is
I mean,
the original...
you need to curve.
Go on, George.
You need to be able to curve a flat plane in order to turn it into a sphere.
Not exactly. No atmo day is their assertion that there's a straw man in the peace statement. When we say, if Earth's a sphere with a radius of 3959, we are reasserting their original claim, which is that there is physical Earth curve geometry, which says there's a hill, physical in nature, getting in the way of your view of things, with boats falling over it. That's their claim. Now, because we're debunking their claim by showing that isn't the case, you're not measuring physical geometry for boats to fall over, aka Earth curve. They say, oh, well, the original claim you say in the modus tollens is a straw man because it doesn't account for atmospheric refraction. That is to say, we wouldn't expect to have straight lines to anything. Okay, given that you wouldn't expect to have straight lines to anything ever, you won't be doing dip correction because it's an angle correction. You won't be utilizing horizontal planes of reference because they're straight. And you won't be getting tangents to anything. In other words, the moment they say refraction, every part of their geometry, which requires straight lines, falls by the wayside. They're relinquishing their own claim. They're committing intellectual harry-carry on the spot when they say refraction. They haven't figured that out yet. John knew it when he made the argument and wanted them to say it. Now, 4 years later, some of them still believe that saying refraction is actually a rebuttal as opposed to a relinquishment of their claim that they've got a physical Earth curve edge called the horizon. That's their claim. Telling us that it's a straw man is basically saying Earth curve is a straw man. That's what they're actually saying when they say refraction.
That's the most amazing part, that after 4 years, they still don't realize it.
Some people are dumb. And a seeming
So
rebuttal
there
is
is an
as good as they
official-
need sometimes. Go on. Sorry, George.
Oh no, that was Adam and me. So there's an official calculator, and it's been debunked with simple tools as a camera, and that's pretty much a black swan.
Yes and no. The tool, yes, is the camera for capturing the image, but you need a yardstick. And in the case of the black swan, the yardstick is the fixed to the ground position of the oil rigs, because you can then specifically say the horizon's beyond 10 miles because that's where the oil rigs are and that's where the horizon is beyond it. So it's unequivocal in terms of your statement of fact when you describe the distance to horizon. Now, because the modus tollens relies on distance to horizon measurement, showing it way beyond its physical limitations is the crux of the argument, but you can only prove that if you've got a yardstick in the form of the oil rigs.
Yeah, those are key, those
I
oil
tend to
rigs.
simplify. But
Go on, Adam.
I was just saying I do tend to simplify or maybe oversimplify, but yeah, I understand.
You're not doing anything wrong. I'm over-emphasising the detailed aspects of the argument for the audience's benefit. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. You're not oversimplifying it. Far from it. All you need is a camera. Go out, took a picture, actually a video, and you can show that the horizon's beyond the physical limitations they claim in the Earth curve maths. They say, well, we're not claiming physical limitations of boats going over horizons, refraction. It's like, well, when you say boats going over the physical hill that we say is Earth curve proves that there's Earth curve, and then you say, well, but other than the fact that we're not actually seeing anything go over anything, it's a refractive effect. Well, then you're not proving your Earth curve.
Exactly.
Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Nathan, are you
Scientific
talking
evidence
about
of
all
what?
things going down?
No, not all things go down.
Hold on a
Oh,
second.
is
How
that
can
the
you have
gravity you're talking about?
scientific proof? How can you have scientific proof of a concept? The
You can't.
bending of space-time caused by the uneven distribution of mass. It's a concept,
Yeah, mathematical
not a
concept.
scientific
Yeah,
claim.
correct. It's not
There you go.
scientific, it's a category error. It's a mathematical concept in a mathematical geometry. Yeah, you can't have
Oh,
phenomena
that's
for
why I
abstract.
asked. Are you talking? Sorry.
You can't have a phenomena when you're dealing in abstract terms. Fourth dimensional pseudo-Riemannian space-time bending, otherwise known as Einsteinian gravity, doesn't sit in the realm of the physical. It sits in the realm of the conceptual.
There you go. That's the answer. No scientific proof. Wrong genre.
Any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety, of course?
Oh, you're going to need a flat plane to derive an R value.
Speaking of which, any evidence of the R value? Earth radius, spherical, again, in nature?
Black swan.
Yeah, black swan.
No, but they've been taken to asking to pretty much us turning it around on us and trying to make it like it's our claim now, but it's their claim and always has been.
The radius claim. How can they turn a spherical radial claim into our claim? I don't understand.
Because we say if it's this, then it's that. But even if it's the size that we're saying, it would be the size that they're saying. So basically, it's saying that they're saying that we're saying what they're saying.
That
God,
kind of
this
thing,
is
I know what you mean.
confusing.
When their claim fails, they often project their claim that's failed onto us like it's our claim. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So it's your straw man in the modus tollens when we assert that if we assess your claim of Earth being a sphere, well, you saying you'll assess our claim of Earth as a sphere becomes your claim. No, it's us taking your claim and then taking a dump on it.
That calculator. And it just goes back to that calculator.
The best example of that is always going to be Simon Dan. So when it comes to axial rotation, I might as well ask the question, any evidence of axial rotation of the Earth-based variety? No? Well, then you could tell me that my reference frames are ruined, like Dan did.
Yeah, you and your reference frames are ruined.
Right, that's the claim failing. So the Earth claim is that as a sphere, we've got a Coriolis effect. That's 2 reference frames and 15 degrees an hour, the claimed measurable drift, because Earth turns underneath as a separate reference frame, required if you're going to suggest that we have Coriolis on a turning Earth. Okay, we point out that there is no drift. Dan turns around in his idiocy, Simon Dan that is, and says, you and your reference frames have been ruined, Nathan. He proactively contacted me to debate this subject with me. He now just lies about debating at all, given he's entered into debate with me via Twitter, at the time now X, about reference frames being ruined, because he's suddenly assumed that me pointing out the globe Earth claim and its failure is my claim that's failing when he shows me no drift. Idiotic, because there's a 15 degrees an hour separate reference frame based drift called Coriolis that the globe claims and we've debunked. Suddenly that's my claim, is it, Dan? My reference frames have been ruined, according to him, when he debated me about it. My bad, you don't debate, do you, Dan, you liar? Yeah, you do. You just get
but
your ass handed to you.
if Danny was going to, if Danny would describe this rotation, it would describe an equatorial plane with the radius value for a rotation. But the equatorial plane, nevertheless, it needs the north-south to be a horizontal and the deviation from east to west or west to east to happen, which it doesn't.
Correct. If Dan
Can I
was
need a flat plane for that, Danny?
Well, if Dan was adhering to the claim that the globe makes that we have 2 separate reference frame and 15 degrees an hour are exhibitable as we turn beneath the inertial frame of reference to see a not-actual deflection called Coriolis effect, then he would have to understand that that requires a flat plane of reference to describe. But he's decrying it and in his misapprehension and delusion after losing a debate to me, thinks that reference frames are my claim, that he can then go away and show how they've been ruined. I'm not claiming them. I wouldn't need to. I'm not saying there is a Coriolis. You are. But feel free to tell me how ruined your globe Earth Coriolis-based reference frames are, Dan, and show me examples of where it's not happening. Kudos for debunking Earth spin. That's what they do when they lose. They project their claim onto us and tell us it's failed. Who brought that point up originally? Good point. Who was it that originally brought that about projection? I think it was Adam. Kudos, Adam. Yes, absolutely. They're trying to say what you're saying, what we're saying, what they're trying to say is what Adam said. But it isn't what he actually meant. He meant they project their claims onto us when they fail, I believe. Hello, Brian.
Hey, Nathan. Hey, everyone.
I got a message from you and I didn't fully read it. I've just had a lot on. Was it important?
Well, I don't know if now is the time to talk about it, but it's just me pointing out that if you're claiming that there is no horizontal measurement with the elevation angle, then you can't use that as part of measured flat, because you're not measuring flat at that point. You're only measuring within that claim, where you're claiming the horizontal is only calculated. Then at that point, you're only measuring vertical. Now, I think vertical and flat should be synonymous, but they're not.
Vertical and flat.
Nah, it's still a measurement, even when you calculate, Brian.
The elevation angle measurement.
Hang on, Neil.
Part of the elevation angle measurement is the flat reference plane.
Yeah, but you're not claiming reference flat. You're claiming measured flat.
Part of a measurement, when you measure an elevation angle, that's measuring Earth, and part of that measurement is a horizontal plane of reference that you must be standing on for it to be an elevation angle measurement. It's part of the measurement.
Yeah, but that's not your claim.
It is my claim.
But it isn't. Your claim is measured flat. Whereas what you're talking about there is what's being referenced to make a vertical measurement.
Yeah, and it is measured flat. When you measure the elevation angle, it's measured flat.
It's not. You're talking about it's being measured using a flat plane.
Yeah, that's measured flat.
No, that's using a flat plane to measure. That's not measured flat. You haven't measured flat at that point.
Okay, I mean, this is now the 21st time we've discussed it, and it's fine. But this is the height of pedantic. There is certain circumstances. I'll concede this to you, Brian, and you know it.
Well, I'm only being... Hang on, Nathan. This wasn't even the direction I was taking there.
Brian?
No, just let Brian say his piece, please.
This wasn't even the direction I was taking the other day, But John came swinging in at me. Eli wasn't happy with me for a while as well. And I was only pointing out that you were attacking Neil for saying the globe is measured flat. When you making the statement, #measure flat, isn't exactly logical either in some ways, without caveats. And then we got onto this thing where it became like the pedantic side was brought in by ye, where I said, no, the distance is a measurement. And you went, no, that's just a calculation. And I was like, at that point, I'm sorry, if you're not measuring the horizontal within your claim, then it's not measured flat. You're just you're referencing flat. You're not measuring flat. You're measuring vertical.
No, you're measuring an angle. And part of the angle...
you're measuring vertical, though. You're not within your claim, the angle part is the only measurement part, and that's the vertical.
Yeah, and the vertical is very...
horizontal is a calculation within your claim.
Done.
What?
Yeah, vertical and horizontal are intrinsically linked. And you're measuring an aspect of a horizontal, that's the elevation, by way of its angle. And intrinsic to the angle, intrinsic to the measurement, is a flat earth. It's absolutely 100% intrinsic to the measurement. Now, measured flat is correct when detailing an elevation angle, because that angle measurement is with respect to a flat earth. That's how it's defined.
Yeah, but that's referenced. You're referencing flat to make...
I'm not.
See, you are referencing flat.
I'm measuring an angle. I'm measuring an angle. So I'm measuring an angle.
The angle is specifically an elevation angle.
Yes.
In specific, right?
Yes.
That's a vertical. You're saying that of the elevation angle, only the angle is the measurement. The horizontal distance along the adjacent is just a calculation. That is what you're claiming.
It's part of the measurement.
Point,
it's not.
Hang on.
It's part of the measurement.
You said the other day that the horizontal is not being measured. You said the adjacent is not being measured. You said that is just a calculation.
That's not what I said. I said the distance of the adjacent isn't being measured.
Well, that's the same thing.
No, it's not.
It is the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
Let me just break it down once more. The angle is being measured, and part of the angle that is measured is flat Earth. That's too cumbersome to say. I say measured flat and can elaborate based on an angle that's being measured, and part of its measurement is the flat ground you must be standing on for that measurement. Now, I get that in a pedantic back and forth, there will be points where you can hold me to task in terms of its phraseology. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again. In terms of just having a catchy, short, understandable phrase, measured flat is perfectly acceptable. Until you get to the point where you say, well, what are you measuring? Are you measuring for flat distance? Or are you measuring for topographical flatness? And I say neither. I'm measuring an angle. And that angle has a definition.
90.
And part of its definition is a flat earth that you're standing on to measure it.
But no. The whole point of the elevation angle in celestial navigation, because it's celestial navigation that we're speaking about here. We're not talking about the elevation angle even in surveying here, just celestial navigation. The whole point of that is to gain a horizontal distance between the observer and the GP point of the celestial body. Now, you claimed the other day, because ye got pedantic about it, and you claimed the other day, right, you did claim that adjacent length is not a measurement.
That's correct.
You said only the angle is a measurement. Now, the angle is a vertical. So it's a measurement of the vertical.
No,
and you said that the adjacent length was a calculation.
Stop. You keep saying the angle's the vertical. It isn't. It's two straight lines meeting at a vertex. One of those straight lines is a flat earth.
No, Nathan. The elevation angle is a vertical measurement using a horizontal plane. But
That's
it
two
is
lines.
A vertical measurement.
Yeah, using a horizontal plane for the measurement. So it is
we're using, not measuring. But within your claim, you're not measuring. You just claimed the other day that only the angle part is the measurement. The length along the adjacent is a calculation.
That's correct.
Right. That means that you're not measuring flat.
Yes, you are. Part of the angle
Because
measurement is a flat Earth.
No, you're referencing flat to make a vertical angle measurement.
Yeah, part of the measurement
Within
is
your
flat,
claim.
which
I'm
is
just pointing out
yes,
your
you're
own
correct. Yeah, at this point, yes, this is where I say, okay, based on how you've caveated, the reference plane that is part of the angle measurement is flat. Therefore, not acceptable to abbreviate to measured flat. I don't agree, and I'm happy for you to disagree. But we can't move forward in this. You understand implicitly what is being done. You are referencing a plane as part of the angle measurement that is a flat Earth prerequisite. I say measured flat.
Well, I have no. Look, if you want to use the term measured flat, no, that's fine. I don't. That's not my problem, right? I understand why you use that term, and my problem wasn't that. My problem, right, started off the other day with you jumping on Neil, right, when technically you using that phrase requires caveats in reality to really make the point. So Neil could say the same thing, that he could say, well, it sounds ridiculous till I go through all these caveats, and then you can see what I mean by it.
Yeah, what did he say? What did I object to?
Well, he said, you objected to him saying it's hashtag globe is measured flat.
It's because it's absurd.
Yeah, globe.
It does sound absurd, but to some people, hashtag measured flat sounds absurd as well until you add in caveats.
No, it's not absurd. I can justify it 6 ways. It's not absurd. I can just have justified it 6 ways from Sunday. You can't ever justify globe measured flat. It's an utterly absurd contradiction in terms.
But the point is that when you add in caveats, it does sound ridiculous to add in caveats, and then you can explain Neil could explain what he meant by that statement. The same has to be true for hashtag measured flat.
No, it is not.
Because you must add.
No,
it is.
It's not. It's not a contradiction in terms, and it's not absurd.
No. It is. Well, there is because the other day, right? You and John and other people claimed that the adjacent length was just a calculation.
Correct.
That means the whole flat part of it, because flat is not synonymous, although I think it should be, it's not synonymous with vertical. That means that the only actual measurement you have is a vertical, using a horizontal plane. But that's not measured flat. That's measured vertical.
Using a horizontal plane? That's not measuring flat.
So what?
Yeah, it is. It's part of... Yes,
it's responding. Your statement is hashtag measured flat.
Yes, it is. It's part of the bleeding measurement. You just described it.
Why is the measurement? What are you measuring?
A flat Earth and an imaginary line to an object in the sky.
If you're measuring a flat Earth, then you have to be measuring the adjacent length. The thing
you don't have to get the length. You just need the adjacent.
No, but you say you're measuring a flat Earth and you're measuring a height of a celestial body.
That's correct.
But the other day you said the only part of that whole process as a measurement is the elevation.
Yeah, the height
is the angle. But
the height's not distance, though, is it? The elevation angle is very specifically not the star's height. It's the angle with respect to a flat Earth. That's all it is.
Yes, but it's a vertical. The point I'm trying to get across to you that you're fighting hard against is your claims the other day contradict hashtag measured flat. You're contradicting
yourself. I'm not saying the distance is measured flat.
Well, the distance is the only part of that is flat, technically.
No, there's multitudes of parts of it that are flat. Parallels, eye levels, what's the one? Perpendiculars. It's all flat. But specifically as part of the elevation angle measurement itself, it's a measurement in the vertical, just to appease you, from the horizontal plane that you're standing on.
But that's not appeasing me. It's not that you appease me with that. That's just a fact. The elevation angle is a vertical measurement that gives you a horizontal distance between the observer and the GP.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't give you a distance. It just gives you an angle.
It does.
It does not. It just gives you... Okay, 60 is the elevation angle. What's the distance?
Well, I have to...
calculate it. You'd have to calculate it. Yeah, that's why we keep telling you. The distance is a calculation.
Degrees in 2 minutes.
You're rumpusing me. Yeah, you'd have to calculate it.
Yeah, so you're not measuring it then. That's the point. You're claiming it's not a measurement. You're claiming it's not a measurement.
The distance.
Along the adjacent.
The distance.
Yeah, but that's your flat part. I'm sorry, that's the flat part.
No, part of the angle is...
it is. I'm sorry, Nathan.
Rumpus.
You're wrong.
Thank you. I don't need to be told I'm wrong when I'm replying. No, part of the angle measurement is a flat Earth. That's part of the measurement. It gives you a number with a degree attached to it. One of the lines goes to the star. One of the lines is a flat Earth. That is what the angle measurement is. And part of it is a flat Earth. It is still a measurement. It does and is in requirement of an Earth that's flat to be that measurement. It is a flat Earth measurement. It's part of the definition of it.
No, you're using a flat plane to make a vertical measurement.
Yes, so we're using a flat Earth to make a measurement. It's a flat Earth measurement. Earth is being measured flat. It's Earth measured flat. There's nothing wrong with my phraseology.
There is, there is, in that instance, there is, because the Earth is not being measured flat at that point, because you're not measuring anything along a horizontal. Within your claim, you're only calculating the horizontal you've made a vertical measurement.
I'm not measuring along the horizontal. I'm measuring an angle with the horizontal. Let me just shout out Jardo.
Yeah, but your claim
let me just do a shout out. 1 second. Shout out to Jardo. It says, Brian and Witsit are correct here. Sorry, Nathan. Says you, Jardo. You'll need more than $2 to expand out on that baseless assertion. I'm not wrong. Thank you for the super chat.
Sorry.
Hold on.
The point is, you're not saying that you're referencing a flat plane. You're not saying that you're using flat. It's not hashtag using flat. It's hashtag measured flat. So the statement means that there's a measurement of flat. That's how it sounds. That's how it comes across.
There is.
But what's the measurement of flat within the elevation, angle, and celestial navigation?
It's the horizontal plane the observer is standing on. It's part of the measurement.
No, you're not measuring that. That was your claim the other day.
Very specific. Yes, you are. It's part of the definition. You're just telling me no. It's part of the bleeding definition. Yes, you are. It's an angle between the horizontal plane the observer is standing on and an imaginary line between you and the light in the sky. That is what you are measuring. It is a measurement. It is a flat Earth. It's part of the definition.
No, your statement is hashtag measured flat, not hashtag reference flat or hashtag using flat. Your statement is hashtag measured flat, and you're not making any horizontal measurement.
We're making an angle measurement. Part of the angle measurement is a flat Earth. I keep saying it over and over again.
Yeah, but that doesn't make the measurement that you're making. You stated the other day, right? You and John were very adamant that the only part of that whole process that's a measurement is the vertical angular measurement. That means there isn't a measurement along the adjacent within your claim.
You keep adding this word. You keep adding in along. Like along the adjacent. No, we're not measuring along the adjacent. We are measuring an angle with the adjacent.
Yeah, but the statement is hashtag measured flat.
Yeah, it is. On screen now is an angle measurement. Yeah? This is what I'm talking about. Part of this measurement is this line. It's marked on this diagram as horizontal. It's part of the bleeding measurement. This is the Earth, the ground, the horizontal plane of reference the observer is standing on. Part of the definition is the flat Earth. That is the measure. It is a measurement of a flat Earth. It's a flat. I don't know how else I can phrase it. It's a flat Earth measurement because it's part of the angle. Plane. This line, horizontal. That's part of this measurement.
What you're claiming is that the adjacent is only calculated. The only actual part of the whole process as a measurement is what you and John claimed the other day is the angle, which is a vertical measurement using a horizontal plane.
Yeah, using a horizontal plane. So the only way this measurement is possible is by using an Earth that's flat. Now I say that's an Earth that's flat that's being measured. All right, that's a bit convoluted. Better to just shorten that to measured flat.
See, the whole point of this was that when you said hashtag measured flat, that you had flat plane measurements.
Hold on, I've just got to give credit to JMals24. Brian and Witsit are wrong here. Sorry, Jardo. It's just like the same baseless assertion spewing super chat back and forth. That's just as bad a baseless assertion, JMals24, but I appreciate the humour. Thank you for the super chat. It got 7 likes.
Well, me and Witsit are talking about different things. But
That's not what he means. That's not what he means. It's just, it was spewed out as a baseless assertion by a super chatter that you were right and I was wrong. Now somebody else has just put the contrapositive with the same or slightly higher value super chat, but just to get a crack out of the audience, and it has. It's had 10 likes.
Yeah, I understand the comedy. I do. Look, my point being is that from ask Adam, ask others, whoever, but from what I'm hearing is that you're contradicting yourself when you're stating that there is no horizontal measurement, and then using the term #measure flat.
I didn't
the
say
whole point of measure flat was as a two-dimensional measurement between two points.
I didn't say that. I didn't say there is no horizontal measurement. I didn't say that.
Well, you said that the adjacent is not measured.
The distance of the adjacent isn't measured until you calculate it after you've taken the angle with respect to a flat Earth you're measuring with that angle that you're measuring. You're measuring an angle. It's being measured. It's a measurement. What's the measurement? Flat Earth and a line to the star?
Yeah, but flat Earth is not a measurement, Nathan.
Yeah, it is.
Measurement has... No, flat Earth is not a measurement.
Yeah, the angle's the measurement.
No, but flat Earth is not a measurement.
It's part of the... It's one of the two lines. It's this line on the ground. It's this line on the ground called horizontal. It's part of the measurement.
A measurement has to have a unit.
Yes,
right?
degrees.
A unit, right? Now you're saying #measure flat, and now you're saying, but you're claiming that the horizontal part of the whole process is only calculated. That means you don't have a horizontal measurement.
I didn't say that. The horizontal part isn't calculated. It's the angle measurement with respect to this horizontal and the line up to the sun in this diagram. It's part of the measurement. The flat Earth is a prerequisite. It's fundamental. It's unequivocal. It can't be an angle measurement of elevation in this respect without using a flat Earth. It's part of it.
Yeah, but your statement, Nathan, is #measured flat. Well, if you put that statement into surveying, you'll be talking about them measuring a distance, right, using a horizontal distance, right, between 2 points, regardless of their elevation above or below the horizontal. It'll be a horizontal distance on Earth between those 2 points. With aerospace, it'll be a horizontal distance between one airport and another, right? A straight line distance, right? That's a distance. So in this, you're saying that part of the process in celestial navigation is just a calculation. So you can't use the term measured flat if you're claiming that. You can't say that's just a calculation and claim to have measured flat use measure flat with that, because you don't have a measurement of flat. You have a measurement of vertical.
But with latitude, you've got a direct extrapolation from angle to distance. Yeah? Now, it still requires you applying something to it that you already know in terms of what you've previously measured when you talk about latitude. But the latitude itself is a direct translation from angle. But the only aspect when you do just take an angle to the star, yeah, the only bit that's actually being measured is the angle. And what is the angle? An angle between a flat Earth and whatever, in this case, Polaris.
Yeah, that's fine, but your statement is not #reference flat or #use flat. The statement is #measured flat.
Yeah, because we're measuring an angle. We could do this all day. Let me just shout out this super chatter.
We're going around in circles here. I'm not going to continue
Let's
on
just
doing
shout
this
out the
on
super
the show.
chatter. Jardo's expanded on it for $10, so he's keen. Thank you for the super chat. It's only when you include the GP does it assert a 0 degree. Only then becomes a measurement by virtue of the nautical mile to degree relationship. Yeah, that's kind of a much more concise way of trying to put what I just tried to put in terms of the translation with Polaris when dealing with latitude. Absolutely, Jardo. Yeah, good super chat. Thank you for the super chat.
Look, I've given my 2 cents on this.
The second step.
I know I've kept you out of the loop for ages, George.
Step,
just let Brian summarise his conclusion. It'll probably contradict me and reassert something again. But go ahead, Brian. Then you can go in, George, afterwards.
No, I've said my piece on the whole thing. right? I have no hassle with the term measured flat, but I don't see how you can use that or reference the celestial navigation if you're claiming the adjacent is just a calculation. For me, that doesn't make any sense. For me, that's a contradiction.
I didn't say the adjacent's a calculation.
That's my 2 cents on it.
I didn't say that, though. I said the distance of the adjacent would be a calculation. The adjacent itself
but that
is the flat Earth part.
The adjacent is that length. The distance is the adjacent.
No, you're not getting a distance when you measure an angle. You can get that after, but the angle itself has got a flat Earth part of it.
No, once you measure the angle, which is a vertical angle, once you've measured that, whatever that is, that then gives you the length along the adjacent. And that's what it does.
We're going around in these same circles again. Let's just hand over to George.
No,
you've said your piece. I've said mine.
No,
we've gone around in the circle 4 times.
If that's the way you want to go about it, fair enough.
You did. Look, you've had the last word.
I pointed out some stuff for you. It is contradictory. You disagree. You don't want to. And now you're using different tactics.
I'm not using any different tactics. I just don't want to go around in the same circle 5 more times. George, go ahead.
Yeah.
You guys talking about the second step. The first step is to measure the 90 degree. When you bring the celestial to the horizon at the tangent point and you say mark, you are measuring a 90 degree angle, the same angle that you're going to deduct the acute elevation angle from. Now, the elevation angle only happens after you correct for whatever you have to correct. But the first step is to measure a 90 degree when you bring the celestial down to the surface. That's a measurement.
Yeah, but you're not. You don't have a 90 at that point, George. At that point, you do have to then use corrections.
You do. You bring the celestial. No.
You've created.
There is nothing to correct.
The vertical, but you don't have the 90 yet until you do your dip correction. Then you have 90 at both the observer and the GP. Yeah.
On the scope, you have the crosshairs. You have a vertical line and a horizontal line. You have your horizontal on the horizon, right on the horizon as you rock the sextant, and you bring your horizon, your celestial mirror down with the celestial down at the tangent point at the 90 degree to the surface. So that imaginary line that goes up is actually the other way around. You bring the celestial down, just kissing the horizon. And when you mark, you measured 90 degrees. At the same time, you are measuring an acute angle to the 90 degree. That's a measurement, direct measurement. That's how you find your latitude.
Yeah, but George, that's a bit of a red herring because that's not the point that's being argued. The angle being a measurement.
You guys are talking about the second step, which is the elevation angle.
No,
the angle that goes from the observer
we're talking
to the
about
GP.
The statement, George. We're talking about the statement #measured flat. All right, that's far more. That, as far as I'm concerned, is a complete contradiction to Nathan's statement that the adjacent is just calculated. Because that way you don't have a flat measurement.
I didn't say that. About 5th time you've said that. Strawman me a bit more. Why not? I didn't say that. I didn't say the adjacent is calculated.
The adjacent is just calculated.
While I object, I did not say that, and I've clarified it now 5 times. No, the adjacent is not calculated.
Not just calculated.
Now I'm getting rumpused again while I clarified that which is strawman with me 5 times. I haven't said that the adjacent's calculated. For clarity, I very specifically said the distance of the adjacent would be calculated. The adjacent itself is part of the measurement of an elevation angle. That's not saying the adjacent's calculated as you've strawman with it for me. You're frustrating me.
Well, I didn't say that way. That wasn't what I meant. No, okay, if you want to get want to be super pedantic about it, I'll be super pedantic.
No, being super. This is what we're doing.
Okay. Right.
That's what we're doing. We're being super pedantic.
Is what you're claiming is calculated? Yes or no?
I didn't hear you because I was pointing out that this is a super pedantic. Just wait.
Yes or no?
Just wait. I can't hear you because you're chanting it through me. I'm trying to point out that, number 1, this is super pedantic. That's what we are doing. Number 2, because I was pointing that out, I didn't get to hear your question because I was saying that when you started asking. Please ask again. Then I've got to answer. Then I've got to speak this super chat. If I could speak. Go ahead, Brian.
The adjacent length is what the adjacent length is you're claiming is only calculated. Yes or no?
I'm saying the adjacent distance is a calculation.
That's the length of the adjacent, Nathan.
Yes.
Distance and length.
Yes.
Length.
The length
Why did you need to use distance when length and distance are the same thing? In this, I don't understand
distance.
that.
I'm not trying to bandy words in that regard. Length or distance, I don't care which word you use. Distance, length, that is calculated based off the angle that you measured that uses a flat Earth as part of the measure.
Then. That would be
Try that reply again. It's getting yammered through by Brian. Let's try that once again. The distance is a calculation. You get that distance calculation based on the measurement of an angle. That angle is an angle from a flat Earth to a light in the sky. It's a measurement, no calculation involved, none. I'm not going to claim it is, because it isn't. It's a measurement of an angle, and that measurement very specifically requires a flat Earth as part of that measurement. It's still a measurement. It's still a flat Earth. That's it.
Yeah, you're using a flat Earth.
But the distance is not from the adjacent anyway.
George,
the distance is from the
George. Yeah, I am saying measured flat because it is a measurement and it is flat.
What's flat? The measurement you're claiming the only part of the process that's measured is vertical.
No, it's a line in the vertical from the
that's
two.
The point within your own claim.
The two are intrinsically linked, vertical and horizontal, in this regard. So a measurement in the vertical is with respect to the horizontal, and in this case, it's with respect to a horizontal that is the flat Earth you're standing on, because it's part of the definition of this measurement.
A measurement is a number in units.
Yeah,
right?
Degrees in this case.
Right. You don't have a number in units of measurement along the horizontal.
No,
Within
for the
your
fifth,
claim,
bleeding, sixth time, no, I'm not claiming you have got a measurement of distance. That's a straw man because I'm not suggesting you have. That's a calculation for the sixth time.
Yeah, it's not a straw man. I'm pointing out the contradiction.
Not a contradiction just because it's not what you want it to be.
Contradicting yourself.
Just not being distance measurement doesn't mean it's not a measurement. It's just not a distance measurement.
It's not a horizontal measurement.
Yeah, it is. It's part of the measurement of the angle. A horizontal plane the observer is standing on is very specifically part of the definition of this measurement.
Okay, I have an elevation angle of 60 degrees. What's the horizontal measurement?
It would be the baseline that the 60 degrees has come from. It's intrinsic to the fact that you've just given. I'm answering you. It's intrinsic to the number that you just gave. The 60 comes from the horizontal plane of reference that the observer would be standing on if that's an elevation angle measurement. If you say 60 elevation angle measurement, then I know immediately that it's come from a flat Earth because it's a flat Earth measurement. It can only be done from a flat Earth. That number comes from the flat Earth. It's the horizontal in the measurement.
You don't have a horizontal measurement. You're using a horizontal. You don't have a measurement of a horizontal.
The measurements of a degree with respect to the horizontal that's part of the measurement.
Yeah, with respect to a horizontal, but the horizontal is not being measured within your claim. Within your claim,
it's an elevation angle measurement.
Using horizontal plane.
Yeah, it's an elevation angle measurement, and that measurement specifically requires a flat Earth for it to be that measurement.
But that's not your statement. Your statement is not hashtag using flat, hashtag referencing horizontal or referencing flat. It's hashtag measure flat. But you're not measuring anything flat there. You're not measuring
let me just
horizontal.
ask you this. Is it an elevation angle? Let me just ask Brian this. Is it an elevation angle reference? Is that what we call it?
We call it an elevation angle measurement.
So should I just change my terminology? Because when we take an elevation angle measurement of a flat Earth and a line to the star, I can't say that measurement is a flat Earth measurement because the measurement isn't of distance. Is that correct?
No, you can say that's a flat Earth measurement, but when you say hashtag
so I can say it's a flat Earth measurement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will. Earth is measured flat. That is a flat Earth measurement. Elevation angle measurement is a flat Earth measurement. I will say it's a flat Earth measurement because it is a flat Earth measurement. Glad we got to the conclusion finally.
That's brilliant, but hashtag measured flat is not.
Yeah, it's a flat Earth measurement, and I shorten it to a hashtag of measured flat. Because it's a flat Earth measurement, elevation angle measurement, but hashtag it's a flat Earth measurement, elevation angle measurement isn't as catchy. It's just a hashtag. But Earth is measured flat, Hashtag measured flat. There's no problem here.
I have no hassle with the use of the hashtag measure flat. No, I don't use it myself, but I understand that I have no hassle with it.
This is 21. There'll be. I assure you, there'll be a 22nd time. We will do this again.
I have no hassle with it, but the other day, right, you wanted to get very pedantic with me when I was just trying to point some stuff out.
Yeah, about Neil.
I was trying to point out a contradiction in two things.
There isn't one.
A statement you're making. There is a contradiction, and I'm trying to point it out. You don't want to accept it. Now, I'm not going to go any further with this on the show. I want to leave it at that. Leave people make up their minds or whatever, agree or disagree with me. I've made my position clear on it.
Jolly good. We'll do it again. It was good fun, and I like doing it. This is more fun because, number one, I know that Brian knows his stuff, and there's going to be points that you can hear back if you listen to that little tete-a-tete between Brian and I, where I'm stuttering and stammering because I'm getting frustrated by him. Because Brian can tie me up in knots like no Glober can, right? I'm dealing with my own kind now, and they're the people who can get one over on me and will push me into a corner and get concessions. Doesn't mean I can't get them out of Brian, though. It is measured flat. Yeah, I know. Hashtag measured flat.
It's more difficult. No, don't get me wrong. It's more difficult debating you or Adam or anyone else, John.
You're not kidding.
Like, even though I was going loggerheads with John, and I often do, John is a legend. People shouldn't get that wrong, that I'm somehow against
Absolutely
John.
correct. Right. But that's why we're all sharp, right? We keep each other sharp. When we get accused of being an echo chamber, the most vitriolic debates that we have are between each other. That's when we really lose our temper with each other. Now, most people don't realise that we're quite often like that behind the scenes if we're having phone calls and discussing something, because it's usually contentious. Therefore, it'll end in a row. But if you only get to see a few examples of that on a live stream, you don't appreciate that. And I don't say it always happens. Like 99 times out of 100, it's all forgotten about the following day. I mean, it might come up again, and it might end up in the same vitriolic discussion with a lot of heat going on it. But that's because we are sharpening each other up, and we all are of like mind in that regard. So hence, we've all gravitated towards each other, excuse the pun, for that reason, because we all want to be sharper. So being challenged by our brothers in arms internally is how we become that sharp. Us disagreeing, it's just frustrating when somebody from the periphery of our tightly knit group, which it is, disagrees for reasons that seem benign or idiotic or not worthy of debate. This is absolutely, it's as pedantic as it gets. When it gets to the semantics of things like hashtags, I'm more than happy to debate this, and I'll do it until someone refines it. Because eventually, where does this end? If someone's like, well, why do you keep noting the number of times that we've done it? Because that's the number of times the mill's turned. That's all that means. How fine the flour comes out at the end is a different story. But that's what we're looking for, right? We want the refinement of our arguments. Now, we're not being sharpened up by our globe-believing brethren, are we? They're not sharpening our wits. On the contrary, they're very easy to behead in seconds. So where do we actually get sharp? That's why I'm smiling from ear to ear, because it's these times. Now, don't get me wrong. It's trying to keep a handle on it when you're running a live show and it's Brian and Refracted, for example, and they're just losing their tempers with each other, and you've got to kind of keep them off each other's backs. But that's like, bear cubs fighting, isn't it? They are going to be at each other's necks. That's how they fight. Anyway, enough of that.
I think people should realise, because I saw some comments on the video, the live show the other day, or the show the other day that me and John were arguing on. And I saw some comments there where people were suggesting that I was going for Refracted, and as if there was some rivalry there. And there is a debate rivalry often with me and John, or now and again. But what I don't think people realise is that I have absolutely zero ill will towards John. And even if I debated him for a full day, which I kind of did one time, I still have zero ill will. He's still my friend, and I'm still totally loyal to him. Even if I argued with you and left the show and didn't come back on like Anthony Riley, I'm still totally loyal to you. So I think these people don't realise that it's not personal with us.
Exactly, that's a better example. So Anthony Riley does have a tendency to get the hump with people. But as we've described in the past, there's various different stages. And in terms of our interpersonal relationships with Anthony Riley, I know exactly where the line lies, and the fact that I've come absolutely nowhere near it when he's stumped off the show in a huff because we'd have a disagreement like Brian and I have just had one. I know full well that in a given period of time, Anthony will just, come back like nothing's happened. It might not be the next day like we're describing here in the example, and that's an over-exaggerated example. People do fall out over contentious issues within the debate, sometimes on the live show, sometimes behind the scenes. But we never, in my experience to date, there's very few of us that, even the ones that have strayed away, it hasn't been for those reasons. Very, very seldom will someone fall out over a contentious point on topic and then go, "Oh, I'm never talking to you again." Now, they will say that. It doesn't mean that they'll mean it or it'll ever actually happen. It doesn't happen, in fact. And I've been saying that for months with Anthony Riley. He's actually had a lot on, which doesn't surprise me in the slightest. And he wanted to tell me all about it when he next got in touch. He's like, this is all the stuff that's happened. This is what I've been dealing with. And none of it was related to what it stormed off the show about. That didn't even come up. So all the people who are in the periphery go, "Oh, Anthony's..." No. You just don't know the general relationships between everybody on the show. And most of us quite close.
Yeah.
Go on.
Well, I'm glad this happened while Refracted wasn't here. Because if he was here, oh boy, he would have been taking you back.
Yeah, the thing about it is I think people need to understand that just because we might argue and that on the show here and whatever else, and it becomes kind of public, I don't think the people think that means, oh, the cracks are showing, it's falling apart. It's like, no. You know what I mean? You have it completely wrong there. Like.
Yeah, especially
totally wrong.
Well, you're focused in on a very sharp blade, and under high degrees of magnification, you go, "Wow, that looks rough." And you're like, and look, they're smashing another sword against it. Isn't that going to make that tiny little chink worse? And you're looking at 1,000 magnification of this very sharp blade, and you know what happens when the other blade hits it? It gets a bit sharper. Amazing, isn't it? Now zoom out. What is it? It's a giant blade coming towards your throat. But you're criticising it at 1,000 times magnification as we have these tete-a-tetes about something very, very pedantic and the semantics of phraseologies and hashtags. It's like, that's not as falling apart at the seams. No. You've got a very deluded idea of what's going on here. Anyway, let me do a few super chat shout-outs. Shout-out to Iron26 says, "Flat measurement is the same as hashtag measured flat." So yeah, I think he's referring to the bit where Brian said, "Well, yeah, I agree, it's a flat measurement." Yep, same diff as far as I'm concerned. Also, shout out to Shatner's Bassoon. You flat earthers and your echo chamber. Yeah, right, exactly. Echoing the sentiments of earlier. Hashtag measured flat, says Croquet. Thank you very much for the super chat. I think that's it. Did I miss any? I don't think I missed any. Thank you very much for all the super chats. No, I didn't. That's the end.
Keep them coming.
We've still got a few minutes left on this live show, by the way.
Sorry?
We've still got a while left.
We got a few minutes.
I didn't even get to the point where I needed to ask somebody if they had a video. We've kept George out of this conversation for about 25 straight minutes. He's very patient.
Right, just real quick, if we're still got a couple of seconds of the live show, might as well promote politics tomorrow. Just let everybody know we're going to be there.
Okay.
But you know the way you do it, not the way I do it.
Well,
Like
I'll do it
really
with
jazz it up.
disclaimers. So, owing to the fact that I'm poor and the government says I should be earning more money, I've got a job centre appointment, which I absolutely do not want to be attending when I'm self-employed and haven't had to do such things for about 5 years. And that appointment was actually on Saturday just gone, but I woke up with a twisted knee and couldn't go, and they've rearranged the appointment for this Friday. So hence I won't be here to do that because I'll be at my job centre. The last possible thing I want to be doing on a Friday, especially as it precludes me from earning money. And that's what they're going to be asking me about. Why aren't you earning more money? What can you do to earn more money? So I've got to go and talk about TikTok and various other boring stuff. Anyway, that's what I'll be doing on Friday. As a result, there'll obviously be no interaction with the politics Discord server as there would be usually, because we've now literally got a regular time slot. We have arranged that in case you were unaware as an audience member. Behind the scenes, we've arranged that we will pretty much permanently be going in on a Friday to the politics server to expand out the measured flat ethos. So that's what we've been doing for a while, if you have been keeping up, and we will continue to do so. But because I can't, I've asked them to rearrange it for Thursday, which is tomorrow if you're actually watching live. So be here or be sphere tomorrow, which is Thursday. for the Politics Discord server, which would typically be on a Friday, but has been moved forward to Thursday. So yeah, that'll be tomorrow. So check it out. If you did want to join, I do ask the moderators of the live stream to put the link to the politics server in the live stream as we're there, so you can join as a new member. It's a fantastic server. So if you did want to join, if you are watching tomorrow, you should do so. I tend not to give it overtly lengthy plugs while I'm actually in the middle of answering fundamentalist zealots' questions about globe Earth. But now that we're not doing that, yeah, definitely, if you're watching tomorrow and you see a link go by, join the politics server. It's good. Is that good enough plug?
Oh yeah, that was great.
I didn't hear that.
Good. I said that was great. That was really good.
Oh, well, jolly good. Oh, well, I'm being praised. Happy days. I really enjoyed today's discussion, by the way, Brian. I live for these days.
Yeah, it's just one of those ones that have to happen. You know, what can you do? But you know, but people do. There is a lot of people out there who want, Nathan. They want to see cracks in the FED. They want to see it all fall apart. Like, but the whole point of FED is that nobody leaves anyone off with it, and nobody just accepts something if they're not happy. But they bring up the topic, whatever. You know, that's why things that we have discussions that we had today is like. That's the whole point. It's not an echo chamber, and that's what keeps it being what it is. You know, I get called out, you get called out, everyone gets called out, and that's just the way it is. And it keeps things real. You know, we don't get a chance to rest on our laurels because our laurels can change. You know, you're only as good as your last gig. It's kind of the way it is, and you have to prove yourself every day. Just because you were good yesterday doesn't mean that you have nothing good to say today. You know, you have to prove it, that kind of a thing. And there's a lot of people out there. It's like as if they want to see it fall apart or something. You know, on the flat Earth side as well. I don't know what that's about, but
well, there's nothing new, is there, from the globe Earth side? You could suggest that when we debate, or when I debate, even someone brand new tomorrow, that discussion is rehearsed on my part, and you go, well, yeah, it is. Because there's nothing new under the sun as far as globe Earth claims are concerned. So I said it in much of the last politics debate. We've had this from a fundy 1,000 times. You're not original. Which means that my responses aren't original. Now they've been refined. You know, they might be subtly different to what they might have been 6 months ago. But my point is the overall response is going to be much of a muchness each time. Little bits might get missed that John will pick up on in terms of, he said up then. You'll need a flat plane for it, nudge, nudge. You've missed it. But aside from those little asides, everything stays pretty much the same with our discussions with the opponents. Now, if you go back to the beginning of the debate, go to debate 200 or something, and listen to how frustrated I get by our opponents, it's the same as me with Brian today, because I don't know what's coming. Nothing's been refined. It's all new. I'm right in at the deep end, as is everyone around me. Anthony Riley, for example. As he's come up already, might as well use him in this example. He and I are discovering the undoing of the globe as we go while in debate. So we're very much at a position of disadvantage, and you can hear us getting frustrated with our opponents because they're well rehearsed in the same arguments we deal with to this day. Nothing's changed. But back then, they were the ones well rehearsed in their arguments. We were the ones completely blind, not knowing where we're going, running around like headless chickens, getting frustrated by our opponents who know better than us. When they're using flat Earth to make their claims, all the things we'd pull apart now are very different to back then. But when I'm up against Brian, this is my point, by the way. When I'm up against Brian, or John, or QE, or 10th Man, or Neil, or somebody who's on my side, that's when you get thrown the curveballs. That's when they've gone through the same training I have. They've got the same refinement to a globe Earth discussion, but that's not what we're having. When did we discuss the semantics of a hashtag? We've actually done it 20 times previous. This is the 21st. That's not my point. When has that been done before? You haven't. There's not been 1,000 times we've done it. There's been 21. Yeah? In the last month. But that's where you'll see the perceived cracks at 1,000 times magnification on a very sharp blade. So if you are of the ilk that you want to see us stuttering and stammering like our opponents do, encourage debate between ourselves. Because, like Brian said, this is not an echo chamber. Nothing slides. Often we're at loggerheads internally. Yeah, it doesn't mean we won't all unite with the same refined argument against a fundy. In fact, we'll be fighting over each other to take blood from them. You know, that absolutely is still the case. But if you want to hear somebody getting frustrated and someone like John swearing, you don't normally hear that when we're live, but you will if he's up against me. You will if he's up against QE. You will if Paula comes into the discussion because she's disagreed with something we've said. Then you'll hear people stuttering and stammering on the flat earth side because it's something they haven't come up against before.
Yeah, the flat earth debate is within flat earth. It's not flat versus globe. People have that mixed up now. The globe is done. So because we know what they're going to come up with. You know what they have. You could nearly debate not everyone, but you could nearly just debate a baller while playing Fortnite and win outright simply because you just know exactly what they're doing, exactly what's coming. You know what their arguments are inside out. It's only a rehash of the same old, tired rhetoric. Whereas on the flat earth side, there is actually things to debate about. Because we are actually...
I'll get into that in a second. Just going to read out some super chats and I've missed them because I've been enjoying the discussion too much. Right, you forgot to read out my retort to Jardot. Unacceptable. I'm starting to think Brian is right. Just saying, says Jamal's24. I'm going to scroll up and see if I can find your retort. I'm really sorry if I missed a super chat. But yeah, in terms of Fortnite, I do actually want it to just look visually pretty. So when often you've just spent an hour or two with the slides going through, there's only 90 minutes of them. So when they start to repeat, I'm like, I really want something to distinguish this part of the show from the last couple of hours. I think it was JMels24. Yeah, Jardo. But if you exclude the GP and only focus on the angle, it's two straight lines meeting at a vertex. #measured flat. Thank you for the super chat. I'm going to give that a heart because you're agreeing with me. Thank you for all these super chats. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I want it to look visually nice. But you've just voiced something that I've never said out loud, but would be kind of not a dream of mine or anything. I'm not a gamer, but to be so relaxed in what I'm doing that I'm just battling somebody on a video game and verbally smashing the living daylights out of somebody who's claiming the Earth's a sphere, and then getting a victory royale whilst taking their head off verbally. That's the aim, right? That's the dream you have in that battle, and it's like this guy's casually playing a game whilst undoing an entire world paradigm. That to me is kind of cool.
Yeah, couldn't have done that 10 minutes ago, though.
With Brian, absolutely. You know, my eyes are closed. I'm focusing on what he's saying, trying not to interrupt him, so I seem like the better man when he does it to me. You know, it's all going through your head.
Yeah, using all the tactics.
Well, yeah, because it does. When you're getting flustered, you don't lie and say this isn't true. When you're getting flustered or frustrated by somebody, you've experienced so many of those tactics that you know when a good time to drop one in is. As in, it won't get noticed by the audience, but this will buy me a couple of seconds and shut down the response I don't want. I'll do it, you'll do it.
Yeah.
It's not because it is because we're weak. It's what you do when you're stuttering and stammering. That's my point, right? It's just no other way of putting it. It's a sign of weakness.
We do use fallacy. Refracted. He's constantly using straw man arguments when you're debating him. Constantly at it. So it's something he does. He's like, so you're saying this? It's like, that's not what I'm saying. So you don't get a chance to say what you're trying to say because you have to explain that that's not what you're saying. And then he starts screaming that he has the win, even when he knows he doesn't have, just to rile you up. Do you know what I mean?
We all do.
He knows he's using logical fallacy at that point, but he's using it in such a way where he's bringing himself around to his own. He's bringing the audience around to his side, kind of thing. Even if he hasn't won yet, if you know what I mean.
And maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's a bad thing. The fact that we can employ tactics when there is no need for us to employ tactics. But by the same token, you'll see those tactics employed when it's Brian on QE or QE on Paula, or, you know, internal discussions and debates that are happening. And those typically don't necessarily revolve around a globe, they're normally flat Earth arguments that are contentious, that are being debated, like this, like hashtag measured flat. Anyway.
Well, I will. What I do, I try not to use fallacy. I try not to use things that. But what I will do is I will say. So you're saying this. So what are you saying? You're saying this or you're saying that? And I'll be not giving the person the chance to go off on another tangent. I'm going to be kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? I'm trying to hold them in a corner and shoot them with a machine gun. If you know what I mean. That I will use that, and so that frustrates people because I come across as they're about to say something and I'll jump straight on it. I won't give them a chance to get to the end of the sentence because I know where that sentence is going, and I'm going to jump on this right now and ask them, "Is that what you mean?" Do you know what I mean? So you're not saying that, you're saying this then. So what are you saying? Because you said a minute ago you said that. So it's a lot of keeping them on their toes, having them having to answer things, kind of like that. If you. I don't know if you could call it a tactic. That's just the way I do it. But I try my best not to use straw man arguments and stuff, unless sometimes there is a need for one, where you straw man someone because they won't be clear about their actual claim. So I'll straw man someone, so then they have to be clear about their claim. So you're not claiming that. What are you actually claiming? And then they have to be clear about their claim. So I've done that with borders, but that's more something I do with borders.
Okay, so yesterday there was a discussion that was taking place in the after show, and it came up as a result of one deck, and he was asking about 1 degree for every 60 nautical miles when making latitude measurements. But the question was in regards to 1 degree for every 69 miles. And Brian has actually got a video on this, and I didn't notice this till just now. He'd shared it in the back office Master B chat that we have. So I've just popped a link to this in the live stream chat, so that if you are, like One Deck, interested in this particular description, then you can check it out on Brian's Logics channel. And you can also subscribe if you haven't done so already. You've enjoyed the dulcet tones of the last hour. I'm sure you'll enjoy a few of his videos if you're not subscribed. This video is called 6904 horizontal miles per degree. And it's on the Brian's Logic YouTube channel. So check it out. Be here or be sphere. Give him a like. Let him know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, right, Brian?
Yes.
Because you won't know otherwise.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Right, with that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's live show possible. But if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. If you are watching this live, though, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you who smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed, joined as a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video. Shout out to Jardo for hitting the super chat just as the live stream was ending. It says, change of subject. Did you guys see the news about this nonsense Antarctic trip? No, I did not, but thank you very much for the super chat. Stay tuned if you're watching on an after show.